Actually, I realized just now I was on mute. Apologize for that. Welcome in. So nobody heard any of that, but we're catching in the middle of this one here. We're about where it was freezing at 10 minutes left. This is our part 2 of the video. Go Browns, welcome in. Mitchell, welcome in, Earl. Not sure what was happening. Something to do with the stream bit rate for the compression, or for the encoder was having issues with the bit rate. So I messed with a few things. Hopefully it'll be better now. It looks like the connection is showing good. Now, is this one fired towards the end down zone? It's going to be just short. Reynolds down to the 1. And a good drive here. But if you're just joining us, appreciate you being on. This is our second go at this stream, as we struggled earlier with a connection problem through OBS. It was not you, it was me. And a handoff up the middle. Montgomery, touchdown for Detroit. And the Lions take another lead here as they go up, assuming 14-9 in this ball game, as they have traded touchdowns for field goals now. Yeah, it's probably blurry because I lowered my settings to try to make it, to smooth it out so that we could actually, not freeze a lot. I'm not sure. I need to dig a little bit more into this, so I apologize for the quality of this. One's probably not going to be as good as you're accustomed to, because I messed with some things to try to make sure the connection at least wasn't going to freeze on us like it did in the last one. So like I said, picking this one up mid-game as Detroit is now up 14-7, 6:24 left in the half. Earl, that's 100% absolutely still on the table. It's a long shot, or a bit of a long shot, but it is very much on the table. We are all going to be waiting with bated breath come tomorrow to see what happens with that Miami Ravens game, because if Miami wins that one, then the Browns are very much alive for not only the division, but also the number 1 seed still on the table. What they need is they need the Ravens to lose both to Miami and to the Steelers. That one's probably a bigger ask of the two, but anything can happen in the AFC North, so I'm not going to count it out as impossible. This one thrown away, and a quick 3-and-out force for Dallas. So Detroit standing tall with their defense as they have all game, forcing yet another punt. And Dallas really not having a lot of success in the early goings on offense. Both 3 field goals so far, not able to punch it into the end zone just yet. And that time a 3-and-out will bring Detroit back out on the table. Out on the field. But then, so if Baltimore loses their remaining 2, of course we have to win against the Bengals. That's critical for this. And then the last piece is that we need Miami to first beat the Ravens, then lose to Buffalo. If those things all happen, then the Browns are not only the AFC North champions, they are also the number 1 seed in the AFC, with a home playoff game and a bye, which would be incredible to have both of those things, but certainly still possible, maybe not probable. But that game there at the bottom of the screen, that's the critical one we're all going to be watching to see what happens. Because if Miami pulls that one out, then a lot is possible and very exciting. But keep in mind, no matter what happens from here on out, no matter who wins in any of the games in the NFL, the Browns are guaranteed a minimum of the number 5 seed. No matter what happens, they will be the 5 seed at a minimum. And therefore, if they don't get the AFC North Championship, or they don't end up as the number 1 seed, either one, they are still at least the 5, which means they will be going up against the AFC South victor. So whoever that ends up being, Houston, Jacksonville, or Indianapolis, any one of those 3 teams, and those are all very winnable games for the Browns, even if it's not going to be at home. Hey, welcome in again, Karen. Welcome in, Wendell. So hopefully that answered your question. But yes, very much still on the table that the Browns could end up as either the AFC North Championship and the 2 seed, or even still the 1 seed, as you know, of course, that requires winning the AFC North as well. That one complete, but not for a lot there. That one to Jahmyr Gibbs, 2nd and 14. Closing in on the waning moments, coming up on the 2-minute warning for the first half. Montgomery, the ball carrier, is going to bring up a 3rd and 12. And so far the connection is better. Sorry to do this in 2 chunks. We had some issues with the encoder earlier, which was freezing this in. This one there, deep, he's got a man to the 5! Oh, just, did he get it? I think he did. Touchdown, Lions. Reynolds just gets the corner of the end zone on the pylon, just breaks the plane. And what a strike from the Lions here. Jared Goff on target. Streaking up the sideline was Reynolds, and Josh Reynolds gets himself into the end zone with a bevy of Dallas defenders trying to push him out of bounds. But he does fight through it to get himself into the end zone, and so Dallas is going to take a more commanding lead here, up now 21-9, absolutely trading 1 for 1, in fact, touchdowns for field goals. And if you're Dallas, you got to do something about that. You can't afford to be doing that. You will never win a game where you trade touchdowns for field goals. No, I wasn't worried about that game either, Earl. I just knew going in there was no way we were going to let that one drop. Not with the way this season has been, how hard this team has played, how together they've been. And that one just a missed pass intended for Ferguson. Anzalone in on the coverage. And tight window throw even, but a little bit out of the reach of Ferguson. Prescott to pass, now firing downfield. This time he's got a complete CeeDee Lamb, the receiver, and a 1st down out to the 39-yard line. Yes, and absolutely, Earl, 100% we are a competent franchise. At long last, they faced adversity. They've managed to win in spite of adversity. It's crazy what we've done this season, and that all starts with the franchise being competent at long last. So proud of what they've done, what they've accomplished, and who they've become by really making the changes that needed to happen and making adjustments to the culture, to the roster, and you know, the coaching staff, the front office, all of it, to really become a good franchise at long last, and they're showing the fruits, reaping the fruits of that. Wide open out the outside. That's Cooks, and touchdown for Dallas. Brandon Cooks strikes. He was all alone, just left alone there in the coverage. Not sure what the Lions were looking at there, but they missed Brandon Cooks, and he makes them pay. A complete turnaround dagger there from Dak Prescott. Just couldn't believe having his wide receiver sitting all by himself out there as he turned around, and of course he fires that one, hits him for an easy touchdown and a big response. Their first touchdown of the ball game goes to Brandon Cooks. Yeah, it does appear that we've managed to get it fixed on. Appreciate that. Not sure why we were having issues, something with the encoder, so I do apologize for the quality. It's probably a little less than you guys are all accustomed to, for the fact that I had to lower the settings a bit and mess with some things, bring down our bit rate to see if maybe I couldn't get this thing to maintain a better connection on the streaming service. It does seem to be better now. It hasn't had any issues that I've noticed so far, so although it sounds like there's some blurring going on, at least it is not freezing, which is what it was doing before, as we are closing in on the waning moments of the first half here. But glad to bring this to all of you. Sorry for the issues, but very happy to have you all back to resume this game with us as we get a preview of the game tonight, and effectively the NFC's version of this one. So report over the middle, a big strike with 38 seconds left, and the Lions are in business to close out the half. An opportunity here for them, and they could double dip as they have the kickoff coming in the second half, but a timeout taken as he was not out of bounds. Good, I'm glad to hear that, Don. It was ragged before. We had some real problems with it, so fortunately we were able to bring it back, and I appreciate y'all being on. to check this out. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to the channel, very much would appreciate that. Appreciate you all being here. We love our nation here on the channel. You guys are the best. And if you'd like to take that fandom to the next level, we do have a Discord. We'd love to have you there. We talk about all things Browns, all things NFL. We also will let you know when games are coming with notifications. Another strike to Laporta out to the outside, and Laporta's having a big day. 21 seconds left, and an opportunity still hanging here for the Lions. Let's see if they can get this one in. Also voting on games like this one for the games of the week. Obviously, the NFC's big game of the week here, Lions, Dallas. There's a strike down to the end zone. It's a big one to Williams, and Jamison Williams all alone with a couple steps, and he scores to close this one out, and the double dip is very much in play for the Lions as a big strike to response. What a drive downfield for the Lions, and it looks like Goff has finally figured this out. He was off target early in the first quarter. If you joined us for the first video, he was throwing the long ball too short and some of the intermediate balls too long, and he was just not able to find his targets early in this game, but he does seem to have found his rhythm. Of course, he had that early ugly pick where the defender was standing in front of his receiver. Neither of them were moving, and the defender, being in front was, for some reason, as he releases the ball, that's where the defender is, right to the defender, of course, because he's standing in front. I'm not sure what he was looking at, but he seems to have overcome those difficulties, and now a much better game is they're going to run up the middle for Dallas. A 7-yard gain and a timeout taken to preserve clock. 8 seconds left, and that one's going to be picked. A big pick there for Anzalone is going to close out this half as Lions probably, well, actually, I guess they're going to try for a field goal. I stand corrected. I forgot they were in field goal range here. The kick is up. It looks just long enough. Wow, he just snuck that one in. And a score. It looked like it went off the crossbar there, but did bounce in. So 31-16, the first half score. These Lions are heading into blowout territory as they have been very good in the first half, and they'll actually have an opportunity to, to double dip plus a field goal here with a little extra action off of Anzalone's pick. There's a look at the halftime stats. Good question, Don. I don't remember. I think Conklin has like one more year on his deal. They may look to move on from him, depending on how much is left on that contract and what the dead cap would be. I don't know. It's a good question. I do think they're comfortable with what they have in DeJuan Jones, certainly, and he is obviously the guy of the future for them at right tackle, as he has been very, very good, and obviously a lot cheaper than Jack Conklin. Obviously, they do want to work on his run blocking more, but he steadily improved through the season, as we saw in run blocking, and his pass blocking was great throughout. Wendell, he's talking about, two people at the same position. One, an expensive right tackle, the other a rookie, very inexpensive, as this screen is not going to work, ends up with the old screen sack on Goff. Very ugly 4th and 19 after that ugly screen sack. You see too many of those. Osa getting in to sack Jared Goff. But they won't both be starters, Wendell, as they play the same position at right tackle. So DeJuan Jones is, they may look to do an extra year of grooming for DeJuan Jones behind Conklin, depending on how that contract looks. I don't entirely know. I don't have the contract numbers in front of me. I'd have to look into that a little bit more, but certainly wouldn't be surprised if it makes sense contract-wise and dead cap-wise, how much is left on it. They may very well look to move on from Jack Conklin, and maybe even trade him. I don't know. They may try to get some value out of him also along the way, knowing that they've got DeJuan Jones in the wings ready and very clearly able to take over as the starter. Second and 1 now for Dallas. Dak Prescott, big drop, and he's going to scramble and throw it out of bounds. Not sure why you're taking a 7-step drop out of a heavy set in that position. Second and 1, but they're going to drop into a gun with a bunch to his left on 3rd and 1. This one completed very quickly to Ferguson, and he's out to the 50. No, they're not going to put Jones at guard. That's not happening, Wendell. No, he is absolutely a tackle. This one's going to be picked again. Another pick for this defense. And the linebackers, this time old Joe Schobert in there to take that one away. We all remember him as the linebacker for the Browns of yesteryear. But he was sitting in there, and the linebackers very involved in this pass game as they each have a pick here between Joe Schobert and Anzalone. Nice coverage there from Schobert. That was actually a bit of a knock on him often, was his pass coverage skill. But he does a nice job there, able to take that one away. Jared Goff back to pass. Throwing out to his left side. Got a man out there, but cannot connect. A little too far out of bounds. No, he's still hanging around. He is, in fact, on this Lions roster. I think they brought him in because they had some injuries in that linebacker room. As Montgomery can't find much out to the right perimeter. In fact, he'll go backwards due to the handiwork of one Micah Parsons. Now Goff, airing it deep, got a man with a stop, and this time he's on target, and to the end zone, touchdown, Montgomery! Montgomery had 2 or 3 steps, and this time Jared Goff did not underthrow it for once, hits him in stride, and Montgomery does the rest to put them into the end zone. Yet again, another big strike for these Lions. I'm happy to see that our stream is still showing excellent connection. So it seems like the worst of the stream bottlenecking for whatever that encoder issue was is behind us. Hopefully the picture is crisp for everyone. I did have to lower the bit rate to help try to keep the connection solid. I'm not sure why that was an issue before, but it was. Yeah, that was partly why I was trying to get back on the stream as quickly as I could, and why I jumped in just partway through to where I first saw the about 10 minutes in the second quarter is about where I started to see the choppy and freezing stuff going on in the stream when I breezed through to see where it was started happening. So I started there. Fortunately, I was able to get it in, so we should hopefully have this complete. There may be a little bit of overlap, but I did try to get back on this as quickly as I could to hopefully get this stream done, the sim done, before the real game is too far in, because we're only 14 minutes out from kick, I think. And this time a big sacked Dak Prescott gets taken down. Reeves Mabin out there to take him out. And a 2nd and 14 coming. Yeah, it really would, Don. And they are scared. They're a good team. And if they're clicking, they're a very good team. So big strike downfield goes to Ferguson there. He's been a big target there for Dak Prescott all game. That's his 7th, 67 yards for him. It would be fun to see a Browns-Lions Super Bowl, though. 2 teams that have never been in a Super Bowl, 2 teams that would be really long-deserved, and a lot of fun to have that Super Bowl. Especially they're kindred spirits in terms of fan bases and teams. It makes a lot of sense to me. I'd love to see that game. Hopefully one day. This one, Pollard out to the right side. This brings up a 3rd and 7. Snap is back. Prescott fires deep. He's got a man incomplete. A big strike down there to Brandon Cooks as Dallas is desperately trying to get back into this game. Dak Prescott with the snap, fires downfield, and it is knocked away. Intended for CeeDee Lamb. It would be an interesting game, although two small markets, so I don't know that the NFL would see it as being making a lot of money, especially because a lot of their money comes out of the TV deals, and the TV deals are market-centric, which, you know, small markets, the opposite of what they want. 3rd and 3. Dak Prescott firing to the end zone and just knocked away. Somehow able to get his hand on it, and CeeDee Lamb had the beat on that one. A little bit of extra loft needed from Dak Prescott, and instead a field goal is what they're going to have to settle for here, a 35-yarder. And it is up, it is good. So Dallas, again, having to kick a lot of field goals here in this one, as they have struggled as this Lions defense has been putting the clamps down on these drives on their end of the field in particular. So now 38-19 the scoreline, 6:56 left in the 3rd quarter. Complete out to the 26-yard line. That's interesting. Actually, I looked up Joe Schobert really quick. It does look like he's out of the league, so maybe this may be a roster issue that he was sitting on the free agency pile. Guys, sometimes these rosters will auto pick up folks off of, because you have to have a minimum number on a roster of certain positions. It may have just signed a linebacker off of the pile kind of thing for Schobert. I'm not entirely sure what happened there, because it does appear that his last stint in the NFL was with the Titans, released as of 12 December 2022. So, I'm not seeing anything further for him. So, interesting that we have him out there. May just have been a Madden roster thing. Sometimes that does happen. As a nice strike. He was heads down there, but a nice strike downfield goes to Williams. Good throw from Jared Goff. No, I don't disagree with that part, Wendell. You're absolutely right. They do have great fan bases. Both of those franchises absolutely do have incredible fan bases, and they're all over the world, no doubt. I'm just saying, from a, you know, the NFL makes a lot of its money out of the TV side of the house, and now the betting. But those things are predominantly factored into large market, which, you know, LA, New York, you know, big cities, big markets. So that's neither of those things are true. You know, Detroit, Green Bay, Cleveland, you know, these are all small market teams. Although they all have storied franchises, they don't mean as much from a cash perspective or value perspective. As a missed kick here, just really woefully short. Interestingly, didn't get a lot of loft on it and left it short. Not a very good effort there. And so kind of the first missed opportunity here for the Lions in terms outside of the early goings of the first quarter, where they probably should have had points on the board that they do not put on the board, and good field position for Dallas instead. Dak will back up into the gun. 38-19, 3:52 left in the third. This one of dump off right over the middle. Very quickly tackled, only a pickup of 3. Dak hands it off. Pollard, he is trying to get the edge. He does break a tackle with a nice stiff arm, but he only gets a few more beyond that. Walker was right in on him very quickly after that. 3rd and 3 coming. This one complete over the middle. That's Ferguson, the big tight end. And a first down. That's Ferguson's 8th catch now. From under center, handoff goes to Pollard. He's got a hole, and he's going to get about 6. Actually 4. They're going to mark him a lot shorter than I thought he was. 2nd and 6. Handoff goes to Pollard. Big hole, and he gets out to the 40-yard line. 1 yard short of the line to gain. Now 2 tight ends out to the right. They go to that power side, and he sneaks through some traffic. Does Pollard to find that first down? And a minute left here in the quarter. Another first down here from the 34. Dallas looking to get back into the end zone. They've only been there once. And I think somebody jumped for them. That's not the direction they want to be going. In fact, it is offsides on the offense. 1st and 15 the result. Prescott. Pressure in his face. He's scrambling. He's going to take a huge sack way, way back. And this defense comes through again in a big moment. 2nd and 28 here. Onzarike, the sacker for the Lions. And Dak Prescott trying to scramble, couldn't get away. And he is going to go back past the midfield stripe to the 48. Going the wrong way on this drive. Oh, it'd be insane in Cleveland after a Super Bowl. After a Super Bowl win for the Browns, that would be a massive humanity would all descend on Cleveland to be part of that. It would be a raucous celebration there, looking forward to the day. It's going to be incredible, absolutely incredible, Wendell. And it is coming. It's going to happen. It will happen. The Browns organization has got it figured out. They'll get this done. It's a matter. It feels to me like a matter of time at this point. I don't know if it's this year, but I certainly feel really good about where this franchise is and what they can accomplish. And you put a great franchise out there that builds, for the long term and is long term minded and continues to make smart moves and good draft picks, develop their homegrown talent. Good trades for value, all the things that they have been doing so well of late, building the culture, the buy-in, the team atmosphere, all of it. All of those things bode very well. Makes me feel like this, that's a matter of time. It's going to happen. It's just when does that happen? I don't know, but it does feel like, with the pieces in place to make this sustainable, that it's just a matter of when, not if, as this one is well carried by Montgomery out beyond the perimeter, and he is going to have a first down. Now to the 37-yard line of Dallas are the Lions. Handoff goes to Montgomery again. Big hole out to the right, but he kind of delayed and missed it a little bit. Got caught up on his blocker, and he only picks up 2. Felt like he probably should have had 6 or 7 on that one. not the best read from Montgomery. He saw the hole, just didn't get into it very well. Kind of hesitated and delayed. Then another not great run for Montgomery, met very quickly at the line, 3rd and 8. Ace formation now for the Lions. Back to pass is Goff. Over the middle, he's got it complete, but short with work to do. And he will be tackled short. 4th and 2. Lawrence gets in on that tackle. Yeah, I mean, yes, partially. I mean, I think the game that Nick Chubb, that one bounces off the upright for sure. As Fox has really struggled for the Lions here, they do get it to go just barely off of the upright. Bounces the way they need. 41-19 now the scoreline, and the blowout is on here. But Don, yeah, it does kind of feel that way. But you know, the Pittsburgh game where Nick Chubb goes down, that one was just a brutal loss. You could see you could see it written on everybody's faces. Just it took the fight out of them. That injury, that game was pretty much lost at the injury. It felt like it was a nice strike down to Cooks for Prescott. And then beyond that, I mean, they struggled somewhat with identity, playbook. They struggled somewhat with changing personnel and offensive line. And then, of course, Watson was injured for quite a bit, kind of in and out a little bit. That did not help. Changing quarterbacks, going with P.J. Walker, you guarantee you're going to get some turnovers from him, and not just ones that don't matter so much as we've seen of late, but ones that were really impactful in games. DTR being thrown in to that first Ravens game with 90 minutes notice. I mean, that was an utter disaster. He was clearly not ready for that. He was much better after that fact, but, so yes, in some ways it does feel that, we've been a lot better after all of the injuries, but also I think we're better for having come through all that adversity and kind of found ourselves in that and realized that they've really got something here and that they can fight through adversity and they can win in spite of adversity. And that's been an important thing, an important, valuable lesson that they've really earned along the way, that they can fight through games and win them. And we're really reaping the rewards of that now, that even when things don't go their way, calls don't go their way, turnovers that are, inopportune, even pick sixes, things that would normally shut this team down or had in the past, no longer having that kind of an effect. They fight to the very end, and they fight for their brothers, and they are absolutely all about the team, and they're bought in, and that's huge, and that has been very evident out there on the field. Offset eye here. Dak is back to pass. He is throwing over the middle, incomplete. Looking for Ferguson again. And Zaloni in on the coverage. I don't know that they'll go out of their way to draft a quarterback. I don't expect them to. If the value is there, that they're like, this is a great candidate, at this spot we like on our draft board, then yeah, they'll do that. There's a big pick for another linebacker. It's Anzalone yet again on the pick. He's got 2 of them now. And the Lions taking points right off of the board for the Dallas Cowboys. An ugly pick well behind Brandon Cooks. Or maybe he was going to CeeDee Lamb and trail. And Anzalone plays them both perfectly. Kind of just splits the difference. And the ball off target in between the two. Anzalone takes it away. And this blowout continues with 7:57 left. Dallas are in a world of trouble now. But I do think DTR has a future. I think they'll continue to develop him. I think they really like what they have with him. I think he's going to be a great backup in the league as he grows and develops and gains experience. And I also hope that they keep Flacco around as a veteran presence, player coach type that has seen it all and can provide clutch minutes if you need him to, and or be a guy to help share that experience and really help grow the quarterback room here in Cleveland. But, that's going to depend on whether or not he is up for that. So we'll see. Obviously, he still thinks he can play, and I don't disagree. He can. He's not ready to be done. So good on him for believing that, and that's been our, it's been huge for us as AB was smart enough to go out and get him when no other team was even looking at him. Apparently, nobody else even called him. So their loss, our gain. Dak fires downfield. He's got a man and just can't control it. CeeDee Lamb. They need those. Those strikes are going to be important here for Dallas. .6:13 left in the ballgame. Dak fires over the middle. He's got Gallup there for short yardage underneath. Underneath is about the last thing you can afford here. You need tons and tons of points if you want to have any chance, but it does feel like it's probably over at this point. Dak Prescott finally does air this one out. It is complete. He's got Brandon Cooks down there on the sideline, down to 35. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised as well, Don. I thought the Colts certainly would, but they appear happy with what they're getting out of Minshew, which, not that he's been bad. He's been Minshew. So he's had his moments, and he's had other not so great moments, and they've been kind of up and down as a result of that. And kind of the same way that everyone in the AFC South has been. Yeah, exactly, Wendell. Nobody was calling him. He was almost ready to give up on it, but what an opportunity for him. And what a ride. He's loved every moment of this. This has been huge for him, and talking about how he feels like he's 10 years old again playing for the Browns, and just has been so welcomed by both the team and the city and the fan base. Feels, it's incredible, especially for who he used to play for, and how he was, Super Bowl MVP and a Super Bowl winner with a hated franchise for the Browns. And yet they, the city of Cleveland welcomed in with open arms, and rightfully so, as a touchdown here to Ferguson, finally getting on the board for him. But that still feels like too little too late, taking a little bit too much time on that drive. Do wonder if they'll look, they got a lot of points to score. Do they start the onside kicks now? They're going to go for two. 41-25 the score line. That's right, the only team that called him. You got that right. And that one is going to be no good. He caught it, but he caught it short and went right out of bounds. So, 41-25 the score now. And we'll see, with not a lot of time left in this ball game, if the onside train starts now. Might well. I don't know why we're looking at that again. He was clearly well short. Here comes the guy. They are going to go with an onside kick. 3:52 left, and they're hoping they can get something here going with the onside. We rarely see it work, and in fact, it does not. The Lions recover. Williams covers it up on the hands team, and that probably should do it, as there's not a ton of time here, and still a very big lead in the order of 24 points. Excuse me, I'm doing my math backwards here. In the order of 14 points. That would make more sense. 2 touchdowns. That's not right either. It's 16 points. That makes more sense. 16 points the lead for Detroit. And they have the ball near midfield here. I'm not sure why they're still throwing, though. They throw out to the outside to Laporta. Not sure what the point of that was. And do apologize here for overlapping the real game. For those that wanted to watch it, go ahead and cut over to the real game. You can watch this later. This was not the intent, though. We were trying to get it on the channel in time so that it would be well done, but we did run into some technical difficulties, and then I couldn't start this up again until the Twitch feed had fully recorded so that I could start in the middle of the feed. So there was some unintentional delay with that, but it was unwatchable with the video completely freezing on us midstream. It was completely unusable, sadly. So Dak Prescott's going to get the ball back. 2:24 left in the ball game, and a 16-point deficit. Now fire out to the left side, nearly picked. That would have been 6. He was very lucky that one didn't end up in the end zone the other way. Now 4 receivers out to his left side, plus a tight end, and they're going to throw underneath for reasons unknown. Madden and their situational football leaves a lot to be desired. Now firing deep. He's got Ferguson down there, and that's going to take us to the 2-minute warning. 1st and 10 from the 45. Being chased. Now firing downfield. Got a man. That's CeeDee Lamb. And he is going to go out of bounds to stop the clock. 1:52 left. Dallas still has all of their timeouts, but they still have 16 points in this last minute 52 to try to overcome. Now knocked away by Sutton. Probably had a chance at an interception there, but just knocks it away. 2nd and 10. Firing downfield, got it complete. Gallop in the middle of a bunch of traffic. And they go no huddle here. Minute 30 counting. Prescott to the end zone. Touchdown! Michael Gallup is the receiver on the touchdown. And here we go for onside kick attempt number 2. But first we're going to have to see what happens with this 2-point conversion. They're going to need 2 of them. An onside kick, this 2-point conversion, an onside kick, and then another touchdown and another onside kick in order to tie this ball game. That is a lot of work yet to do here, and it's critically going to start right here and right now. Let's see what happens from under center. Back to pass. Scrambling. Oh, and he's going to take a sack. Quara sacks Prescott, and that leaves it a 10-point game. They're going to go for the onside, but probably not enough time for 2 scores here. That one touched before it goes 10 yards. We have the appropriate flag down for that. Illegal touching. That is on Marquise Bell. Under center. Goff hands it up the middle, Montgomery, and he is met by several Dallas defenders. 2nd and 8. Handoff goes to Montgomery. And another timeout taken. That's their 2nd for Dallas. 3rd and 5 now. Minute 18 left in the ball game. Goff. Scrambling, he's going to take a sack. Last thing they could have, they don't mind actually. They, sorry, Dallas couldn't afford a sack, but Lions are just going to punt here. But they do force Dallas to burn all of their timeouts. Still down 10, a minute and 8, and a tall order as they need to find a way to 10 points to tie. Firing out to the left side, nearly pick six again there out on the perimeter. That's true. That is true, Don. Cleveland certainly has done well with some Baltimore retreads, no doubt. Trips out to the left side. And Prescott going to be hit in the backfield. Ball incomplete. 59 seconds left. Prescott. Now scrambling out of the backfield again. He's going to fire downfield, and it's going to be knocked away, I suppose. CeeDee Lamb, the intended receiver. And that'll bring up fourth down. Of course, they will go for that, because they have to. So the ball game, here it is. He has the snap. He's going to fake the handoff. Somehow they bid on that, and somehow they get the first down to Ferguson. Wow. The play action works inexplicably. Probably shouldn't have. And this time it doesn't. Hutchinson wasn't going to make that mistake twice. He took the running back the first time, takes the quarterback the right read the second time. In a game like this, probably should have been taking the quarterback both times. So Phil got busy today with other things. He didn't think he was going to have time to get to this sim, so he had me run it solo instead because he had other things going on. Just the day got away from him. And we did want to try to get this in before the game started. Unfortunately, because of my technical difficulties, we've got a little bit of overlap going here, which was not the intent. But we're nearly done with this one as the clock expires now on a missed pass. So 41-31 the final here as the Dallas Cowboys go down to the Detroit Lions. And Phil is going to very quickly take us through these stats. Really, Jared Goff was not so good to start, but then very good later. And Dallas never really, they started with a whole bunch of field goals, never really could figure their way through this game. They finally did get into the end zone, but it was one of those too little too late type situations after they had given up a massive lead to the Detroit Lions. And so, a big turn of events here for Detroit in the NFC as the picture becomes ever more clear for our NFC brethren. All right, that's going to do it for us. Appreciate you all being on. Thanks so much. We couldn't do this without all of you. But appreciate it. We'll get out of here by saying go Lions. And as always, go